Today's top spread lines brought to you right here on the early line on the SportsGrid Network. Donnie writes out along with Joe Raineri the hottest games that you need to know about tonight in both collegiate basketball and also in the association. Let's get down to the SEC, Joe, where it just means more. Florida versus Georgia. Look at this overnight line. 6.5 as a favorite towards Florida. Joe, I'm seeing every single outlet right now sitting at minus 9.5 as a favorite to the road team, the Florida Gators, and a total of 166.5, which is also up, Joe, from around 163.5 overnight. The one thing you know about Florida, ultra-efficient offense, where Georgia relies on their defense to have turnovers, the best in the SEC. Florida doesn't turn the basketball over. Florida likes to rebound the basketball. Florida will make you pay inside the paint tonight. But is that enough for a double-digit victory, Joe? What's your spread line tonight here?
It was good enough the first time they played, Donnie, because they absolutely smoked Georgia the first time they played. Now they got to head to Georgia. And listen, Georgia is a lot of fun to watch. Why? They, most of the time, have absolutely no idea where they're going. They are running up and down that court and just hoping good things happen because they can't rebound. They can't protect the rim. They have no half-court offense. Everything has got to be in transition. It's hysterical. It's like a house on fire and everyone running around here, Donnie. Florida, listen, they are the best team in the SEC right now, and I don't even think it's close. They beat them in Gainesville. They're going to beat them here tonight in Georgia. I don't think it's a question of if. It's just by how many here, Donnie, and I think Georgia understands that.
Florida, Ken Pom loves Florida here, ranked 5th in their rankings here. We'll see if they can pick up a victory on the road in SEC play. Let's go out and take a look at those Antelopes tonight of Grand Canyon. At home hosting New Mexico. Line overnight, minus 1.5. Line this morning, Joe, still minus 1.5 as a favorite towards the home team, Grand Canyon. A total listed at 149.5. The Lopes are at home. Did they get the victory tonight, Joe? And if they do, what's your spread line here?
Big Mountain West game here tonight, Donnie. And quite honestly, might be, and I know it's going to be a little late for you, but this might be the game of the night here. I mean, both of these teams, both the Pit and where Grand Canyon plays, and this game's at Grand Canyon, it's an amazing court, amazing fan bases that come out and support their team. Go figure here, Donnie. And this is going to be a good one. I mean, New Mexico's going to bring the defense. Grand Canyon also can shoot you out of the building. Something has got to give here, Donnie. I think this is quietly, and look at the spread. It can tell you it's a pick-em price. It's a pick-em price for a reason. This is going to come down to the wire. Who has the ball last? Who makes that final shot? This is the game of the night and worth watching.
How about this one? Back to the SEC, Joe. Missouri taking on Texas A&M. 6.5 overnight numbers. It appears 7.5 this morning as a favorite to Texas A&M and a total of 156.5. When I look at matchups here, I think it's a perfect matchup for Texas A&M. You look at Texas A&M's defense here in SEC play, number 2 overall in efficiency here, but also more importantly, Joe, second at turning your opponent over in SEC competition. Missouri, 15th out of 16 teams at turning the basketball over, and also the worst free throw shooting team in conference play. It's Missouri at only 67% as a team. Flip it over to Texas A&M, the third best three-point shooting team in conference play, the second most by volume, going up against a team that doesn't defend the three and lets you shoot the three. For me, Joe, it looks like an A&M night, but the question is not will they win? What's that spread line if they can cover tonight?
Styles make fights here, Donnie, right? And listen, Texas A&M and Buddy Ball has been fantastic. Nobody saw Texas A&M at this point being 17-6 and 7-3 in the SEC. Nobody saw that coming 4 months ago. But styles make fights, right? And the problem is they're not very good in the paint, which happens to be exactly where Missouri generates a majority of their points. And when they can't control the paint and when teams get down low on them, that's when they have a problem. And nobody is better at it than Missouri in the SEC. Yeah, they average at least 39 or more points a game, Donnie, in the paint. That could spell trouble for A&M tonight.
College basketball news, notes, stories, and scores. We got you covered in this next segment here. And we started off on the early lineup, and we skipped over a topic on the Pittsburgh Panthers. You might think about, who was that, Dan Marino back in the day? Tony Dorsett, football, basketball, men's basketball. No, it's women's basketball here. And this isn't necessarily a knock, but just the times are a-changing, as we like to say. Sure, things aren't like they are in the 40s and 50s, heck, even the 80s and 1990s. Going back through being coached, Joe, and I'm sure you're probably the same, from Little League baseball to high school baseball to college baseball to football to basketball, whatever. A lot of times we ran into a coach who coached us very hard. And sometimes at 14, 15, 16, and 17, your feelings were hurt in the name of trying to wake you up and make you a better player or more motivated. And yes, coaches have said ridiculous things to me in my career, but I always looked at it as like a badge of honor. Like, you know what? He's going to try to tear you down only to build yourself back up. That's not the case for Pittsburgh here. Can you imagine playing for a coach, Joe, that told you, I don't like you as a player, but I let you date my son? Or how about this one here? Every night I lay in bed, I want to kill myself because of you. Probably taken out of context, but it's just a changing of the guard. You can't coach these athletes the same way you coached even 20 years ago. They will end up suing you. Joe, if I had a cup of coffee for every time a coach told me, like, you're slow, you can't get it done, I'll put you on the bench faster than your head would spin, I don't think you're going to start next week, your job is up for grabs, oh no, let me sue that coach. You can't coach these kids anywhere near being at a level of competition that really gets in their personal space. I'm telling you right here, as a coach, coaches probably have told you that before, like, man, you are the dumbest player I ever met, but you're still a pretty good kid. I can't go to practice tomorrow.
How many national championships does Pitt women's basketball have, Donnie? Oh, that's right. Yeah, they don't. You know how many classes Gino Anarema over at UConn has had, and do you know over the years how many times he's been sued by a group of 6 players because, he coached me up too hard? Yeah, 0. But, well, one also happens to have more national championships than you care to shake a stick at, and the other one, yeah, nobody even realized has a team, Donnie. There is a big discrepancy between coaching the elite of the elite and then coaching what they've got going on over at Pitt. I think that goes a long way as to why one program is getting sued and another is winning national championships.
Look, you can't cross the line and get physical with your players. You understand that. But my goodness, have a little bit of mental toughness at this point for saying, like, I can't believe he told me that. Like, I'm gonna kill myself. This team is so bad. It's like, coach is a little bit angry over there. But now you actually get sued for those type of statements here, which perfectly blends into our next situation in college basketball. Bob Knight is going to get a statue outside of the arena at Indiana. So when we talk about coaches that coached you hard and maybe get some lawsuits, imagine Bob Knight, maybe 23, 24, 25, 26 years old as a young college coach, what he would be doing to those players today. He's getting a statue outside of Indiana, the legendary Coach Bob Knight.
Is it a statue of him throwing the chair? Because that would be class. It should be. It should be a bronze statue of him just flinging the chair at whoever was on the court in that spot. Listen, Bobby Knight was in an era that, I grew up in as well, that had a lot of coaches like him over the years. Never once did I ever think about suing them for being mean to me. But I can tell you this, every one of his players, especially at Indiana, Donnie, I mean, as much as they hated him, they loved that guy and really all looked back to him and said, hey, Isaiah Thomas and everybody, that he was a big reason as to why I became the man I am today. So a true legend of the game, changed the game, and a great basketball mind.
By the way, what would be a better statue? Maybe multiple. Throwing the chair across the court, or maybe a Neil Reed where he, put his arms around his neck in practice at that point. 2 iconic circumstances. But Bobby Knight, you might have had a 90-10 there where 10% of the people in Indiana absolutely hated Bobby Knight, but 90%, that was a religion to basketball and a love for Bobby Knight. He gets a statue there for the University of Indiana. Let's get back to the hardwood last night, Joe. And as I told the people in the last segment in the NBA, got to be kidding me, man. I had a -7.5 with Houston with under 10 seconds to go, and a meaningless three-point shot went against me. Lose by the hook, you'll take that. Joe told you yesterday, Duke's going to be angry in their basketball game. They'll handle their business. 70-54, you might think like, yeah, they handled their business. Joe, tell them what the line was that you got and how it ended.
Yeah, isn't that great? Look at that. 16.5 is what we had there. I think it closed at 17 and a half. Yeah. And that's what we got, because Duke literally took their foot off the gas for about the last minute and a half of that game, and it was ole for Pitt to get a meaningless basket at the end there in order to be able to sneak in and only lose by 16. Imagine only scoring 54 points, Donnie, and still somehow covering a game. Unreal.
Court storming down at the Watsco Center last night as the University of Miami knocked off the North Carolina Tar Heels. We told you, an impressive comeback performance over the weekend for the UNC. How would that go now going on the road to take on Miami? They were the much better team, Carolina. On paper, they should be able to score at will. They scored 66 points in that game. Neither team played great offense, but the University of Miami, 75-66 victors, and now improved to 8-3 in the ACC, a game better than UNC at 7-4.
I don't think UNC ever led that game, Donnie. I mean, it was close all throughout, but a 1 of 14 from three-point range in the second half is what did North Carolina in. They kept it close for a while, but they just couldn't get that big bucket, Donnie. And when you go 1 of 14 on the road, it's going to make it very hard to be able to come back when you continually are playing from behind, which they were that entire game.
That was the ACC. We'll shift it over to the Big Ten last night, which saw Purdue go to overtime on the road to take on Nebraska and beat them 80-77. I remember a time, it wasn't so far in the past, Joe, that Nebraska was undefeated. Now just got hit with their third loss in Big Ten play.
Yeah, no, that's what a game, Donnie. I mean, first of all, Purdue held on, shall we say, to win because it was 40-24 at the break. Purdue absolutely boat raced Nebraska early in Nebraska, but what a different story in that second half. Nebraska came out firing and then just came up a little short. Purdue survives in that matchup. We told you yesterday, it's not a great matchup for Nebraska versus Purdue, but my goodness, they almost pulled off the comeback of the year, but they fell a little short.
Talked about this on Spread Lines, Joe. Florida, Georgia tonight, taking place in Georgia, close to a double-digit favorite for the Florida Gators as they take their show on the road. Legitimate chance to cover, Joe. Fill the people in again on Florida, Georgia.
Yeah, well, it's been nothing but Florida money here, and we've already seen this, right? We saw Florida already play Georgia and absolutely boat race them here. Georgia's not a very good team, Donnie. I mean, they're very athletic. They're long. They're athletic, but they don't play defense. They don't defend the rim. They don't rebound. All they want to do is get out and run in transition, right, and get easy buckets. They're the number one pace team in all of college basketball. I would not want to sweat out an under in this game here tonight, Donnie. I think that was probably the best way to look at it. You're getting points here tonight, one way or the other. Most of them are going to be scored by Florida, though.
What a matchup here in the Big East. It's Connecticut and it's Butler. Now, Connecticut is on the road here as 11.5-point favorites in a total, Joe, that sits at 144.5. But looking at some of the statistics, you're getting the best defense in conference play in UConn versus the worst defense in conference play as the Butler Bulldogs take the court tonight at a historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. What gives tonight, Joe? 11.5 favorite? Can they get it done?
Oh, they can absolutely get it. Don't forget, they're coming off of that loss to St. John's here. So, and Butler just can't get out of its own way. Like you said, they're playing no defense. This has got UConn blowout and getting right in a big way all over it.
Quick one here, Joe. Michigan and Northwestern. 15.5-point road favorite for Michigan taking on Northwestern. Blowout style? What do we say today for this one? Goodness.
Well, Michigan's doing this all year long, Donnie, as double-digit favorites against terrible teams. And what do? They win by 20 points. I wouldn't be taking the points with Northwestern here. It's all Michigan tonight.
They had a ski mask on for me and Joe last night. Stole our winnings in the final seconds. Not tonight, Joe. Where are we going?
All right, so I'm going to go to the Atlantic Sun, the A-Sun here tonight in a big matchup between Austin Peay, the Govs, against Queens here tonight. And listen, Queens is a team that can only defend by fouling, and that is not great because Austin Peay is one of the best teams at getting to the free throw line. They are also by far the most disciplined and best team in the A-Sun. Queens is at home, but they have basically gone through a much weaker schedule. The bottom feeders of that conference, they have beaten. This is not what they're facing here tonight. Austin Peay is already 11-1 in league play. They will run away with the division with this win here tonight, and I expect them to do it at Donnie plus money. They're getting 1.5 points, and they are by far the better team here.